Hey, what's going on, everybody? I've had a long hiatus. I know a lot of different things happened this past year, and I didn't really have the drive to make any new content. So, I'm going to start off this new year with a new video. So, this is going to be the final car that I've owned for right now. I don't see myself getting anything new within probably the next couple of years. Even though some things are on my list that I would like to own, I don't have the ability to get them just for being financially responsible. I mean, I could be financially irresponsible and go say to hell with it and just say go for it, but I'm not that kind of guy at the age I am now. Maybe if I was 10 years younger or 15 years younger, Jesus, I can't believe I'm actually saying that, but I digress. So this is going to be on my 2012 Volkswagen CC. This is a car I bought, I want to say 2 years ago, or yeah, about 2 years ago. I bought this in the summer. So as you know, I was hoping to hold on to the Focus for another year or two, at least until it got up to about 200K. But again, things started to need repairs. The manifold controller, which I fixed already before, needed a replacement. I tried to do the whole clean the contacts thing. It was hit and miss, so it needed a new controller. One of the wheel bearings was on the way out, and then I needed to sink money into that to fix that. And then the final straw was when the power steering pump exploded and coated the engine bay with power steering fluid. So it needed a wheel bearing, it needed a controller, it needed a power steering pump, and it's just like, ugh, I don't want to spend all this money. If I totaled it up, the amount of money I would have to spend to fix it would have been probably the cost of the car. And then I would have to dump the car anyway around 200,000 miles in the first place. So with my drive, it didn't make much sense to me to keep the car, fix it, keep it for another, what was it, probably 3 or 4 thousand miles, and then start have to look for another car anyway. Just get ahead of it and do what I needed to do. So what I ended up looking for is I needed a daily that I could just turn the key and drive. Plenty of cars are like that, but my stipulation to that is that I have to like it. You know what I'm saying? I have to look at it and want to get in it. If I go outside, and no diss to people who have a Toyota Camry or something like that, I can't do it. I have to want to get inside of it, not just be like, all right, I'm getting in the car, let's go. So you know, it would have to be large and comfortable, obviously, because it's not just me anymore. I have a child to worry about, and have the possibility to be modded if I wanted to do it. Not saying I did, but if I wanted to take it to something else, I had the ability to do that. And then, it had to fit the baby seat comfortably, and it had to be relatively safe for him to ride around in it, and something that he would not quickly outgrow, which I think he would have in the Focus as he got older. Not now. I mean, he's only going to be turning 4 as of this coming year. But had I kept the Focus, I would need to get rid of it anyway because his legs would be uncomfortable in the back seat of the Focus in people's front seating positions. It's not a very big car. So I think to me, I think the CC is a pretty slick looking car. It has a pretty good equipment package. Definitely the most luxurious car I've ever owned. And, that is a pretty low bar, saying to myself. I mean, I've only honestly owned pocket rockets and tuner cars, but in my eyes, it was a step up in what I've ever owned before. So, the standard 2012 goodies in an upscale-ish car is kind of what I'd call it. I wouldn't put it on a par with, like, I'd put it on par with probably, my mom has an Audi A4, and it's kind of on the same level as that. You can kind of see, if you look at it, that while the aesthetics might be changed a little bit, some of the switch gear is kind of the same. The navigation, while it's updated, is good. The sound system has a good amount of thump to it, which I like. It has heated front seats, the hands-free calling, which is, standard kind of equipment nowadays. And even back in 2012, it was kind of most cars could come with it. It's a four-seater, odd enough, because the back seat, there's a slide in the middle of it that, you can open it up as like a compartment that you can put phones in, I guess. I don't know exactly what shape that is to hold anything, but cup holders and stuff like that. So it's not an honest seat. There's only two seat belts back there. So for right now, with the baby seat, it seats myself and two other people. Is it ideal? No, but with anything else, there's trade-offs. The only thing that I don't like is the trunk. It's deep enough, but due to how the car's body is shaped, it kind of has that coupe-esque look to it. It's hard to fit larger items back there. It's deep enough and it's wide enough for sure, but taller items, the trunk will hit it when you close. So that's my only real gripe about the trunk that I don't really like about it. The drivetrain is from the GTI, and as is the transmission, which is good. It's the 2-liter turbo. They say it has, I think, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think it has about 200 horsepower and 210 foot-pounds of torque, something around those areas. But we all know the Germans are liars, and, excuse me, the only actual way to tell how much the car actually makes is putting it on a dyno and see what it actually does. Because I've seen in many a video and many a times at a dyno session that it says, oh, the car makes 300 horsepower. You stick it on the dyno and it makes 330. And you're like, right, okay, sure, Germany, we'll believe you. So I digress. I could turn it into a higher rocket with bolt-ons and a tune, but like I said, I don't want it. I just wanted to get it to work and go around town with it and not going off the modding cliff, which I've done before, and it turns into a nightmare very quickly, and I'm trying to avoid that this time around. I would like to have the DSG shifter paddles that they have in the GTI, but this didn't come with them. Have I used the DSG? Just using it via the stick thing in the middle? I have. It's responsive, and it's good enough that I just leave it in drive. I put it in sport a couple times, and it'll hold the revs better than it would in an automatic mode, but to me, I just leave it in drive, and there's no real reason to go beyond that. I may put an exhaust system on it, but there's no real rush to that since I bought the car with under 55,000 miles on it, and as it stands now, I think it has like 57. I got my first oil change a couple months ago. My commute from the job I used to have to the job I have now, my commute was cut by 3/4 almost. So I don't do anywhere near as much driving as I did before. Had I had a crystal ball and knew that I would get this job, I might have kept the focus, considering the fact that I don't have to drive as far anymore. But, hindsight is always 20/20, right? When I do eventually come into a good chunk of money, I'm kind of leaning towards the Elantra N or the new VB WRX. Both cars I really like, and I know some people are like, oh my God, the new Subaru is so ugly and blah, 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 blah. Whatever, it's my money. The look is growing on me. I just have to change the fenders, and I'm good to go. It's dynamics of driving from what I am getting from it as far as things like steering feel. It's not as good as some of the other cars I've had, but it's nowhere near the worst. And I will not say it's on the level with the Speed 3 or the BRZ or the WRX, but Acura was better too, I think. So I think it's kind of smack in the middle. Well, lower than the middle, because I had some really awful cars, as you know. The Oldsmobile, the Plymouth, and the Dodge sucked, and those were awful. So it's definitely better than those. But is it better than the more tunery cars that I've owned before? No, it's not. So with that, it's okay. I wouldn't call it a sports car. I wouldn't call it a sports sedan either. It's more along the lines of a commuter car, and I think that's what kind of Volkswagen was going for, in my opinion. It's not a corner carver. Maybe put some coilovers on it and some bigger tires and some stickier tires. It might do a better job, but it's that doesn't feel like what it was built for me. You just kind of put it on the highway, you get it up to speed, which it gets up to speed relatively well, and you just cruise. It's comfortable, the seats are nice, and I don't really have a complaint as far as getting A to B. And I wouldn't take it autocrossing, and I wouldn't take it around a racetrack. But as far as just being a car that is nice to deal with on a daily basis, does a pretty good job. I'm not gonna hate on it like that. The engine is smooth, linear power delivery. Uh, it's not a revvy engine. It's more of a mid-range punch kind of thing. It's kind of like the WRX, but it's a lot smoother. The WRX kind of is not as on and off power band like, say, like my Mazda Speed 3 was. The Speed 3 was like nothing, 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 boom, turbo, and it goes up to 5,500 RPMs. This is more, it starts off down low, and it just kind of pulls gradually, and then it trails off as it gets higher up. And the WRX was just, here's the power band, deal with it. You know what I mean? That's how it was. But it makes it feel like it's a bigger engine than it actually is. It more feel drives like a V6 would or a V8 would, where it's grunty down low, so it pulls off the line and then it tapers off as the RPMs get a little bit higher. And then the DSG, what can be said about the DSG that has not been said already? It's good. It does the job very, very well, and that's all I can say about it. I would like to actually try a DSG in a more powerful car, in a more capable car. I haven't, to my own shame, I have not actually driven a car with a DSG. Well, no, that's a lie. I did the Porsche experience, and I did it in a Boxster with a DSG in it, and it was magnificent. I will say that I did not miss having a manual transmission with the PDK from Porsche. I'd like to try an Audi one on a track, or BMW doesn't. Well, the BMW still uses a ZF box, but I've done. Oh, sorry about my phone. I've done track days and stuff like that with the BMW automatic transmission, and that is really good as well too. So I'm a manual man through and through, but I don't mind the DSG. I mean, it's a good package for someone looking for a four-door car that you can live with, and you can get by, you can tune a little bit, and it's a good entry-level car for somebody if you want to get into tuning or that kind of thing, or mods and all that. It's a car that doesn't allow you to get too far off into the weeds, so you can kind of build it up, like, all right, I like this, and then I want to continue doing something else. You have to get to another platform, but it's kind of a good toe in the water, as it were. I know you can get it with a manual, for the four cylinder, and I know it comes with all wheel drive and a V6 as well, but that's not what mine has. It's not a bad pickup. I would have liked to have driven the V6 with the 4Motion all-wheel drive system, or see what other toys there are, that features that come with it, because it has the grayed out buttons, the little plastic inserts that don't do anything. There's a couple of them on the side of the gear shifter, and I think one or two probably in the dashboard. But I would have liked to see what the totality is, like a fully decked out one is. Mine's not fully decked out. I don't know what it's, either Lux or Lux Limited or something like that. I didn't look too far into it. But so far for me, I'm not disappointed with the car at all. It's been relatively bulletproof. Putting some new tires on it, and I might try to throw an exhaust on during the summer. If I do, I'll put a video up here. But, thanks for taking this little journey with me. And for the next couple of videos that I'm going to do, I'm going to compare it to two different cars that I had at different eras. So the next video that I'm going to do, not probably, next video that I'm going to do is going to be on my RSX versus my Ford Focus SVT, which is kind of perfect because they're both made in the same era and they were both direct competitors. The only difference is the SVT is kind of the top of the line and my RSX was a base, but I'll address that in the video. So thanks for listening. Please drop a like, comment, subscribe, and see y'all next time. Be easy. Later.